These double dark chocolate sandwich cookies.
Look at those. They look double, they look dark, and they look chocolatey.
These are extra dark chocolate cookies. They are not for the kids. I mean, maybe some kids, but we'll just say these are for Santa. We're starting with some butter. It's really, really soft. It's probably been sitting out for 2 or 3 hours. And we're going to put it in the bowl with some powdered sugar. That is a cup of butter and a cup of powdered sugar. The ingredients for these cookies are so simple. Nothing fancy here. We're going to beat this about 2 minutes until it's light and fluffy. It's going to start to look like frosting. And then we're going to scrape down our bowl and mix it a little more. As always, you can find the full recipe in the caption below. After about 2 more minutes of mixing, you can see how extremely light and fluffy the butter and sugar has become. It's this fluffy cloud. It's super pale. Look at this. So I'm adding in some salt, and I'm adding in just the egg yolks, no whites here. This is where I should be adding in the vanilla, but I forgot. I'd mix it at least another minute, maybe 2. So add in our vanilla and our dark cocoa. You can use whatever cocoa you like, but I really like the extra dark. We're sifting it because cocoa does get lumpy. And while we have the sifter, we'll run the flour through it too. Now before I put the mixer back in this bowl, I'm going to give it a good mixing by hand because I don't want flour and cocoa flying everywhere. Ooh, it's a little bit dusty. When it comes together, this dough is nice and thick, but it's very soft to the touch. Exactly what you want. I'm not gonna lie, I dread the plastic wrap tango. Am I the only one? Like, there has to be a better way. Now I'm just forming the dough into 2 separate discs, wrapping it in plastic wrap, and throwing it in the fridge for about an hour. You can do 1 disc, but 2 is easier for me to work with. And let me just say again, I really don't like dealing with plastic wrap. I'm going to roll this dough out to about a 1/4 inch thickness, and I did leave mine in the refrigerator way longer than an hour, so it's pretty firm. But because there's so much butter in it, it softens up really quickly. I want to show you how soft this dough gets. So while I was rolling out my other disc, this one was sitting on the countertop, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes. And it got so soft that I didn't have to roll anymore. I could literally spread it with a rolling pin. It's really not ideal because you want it to hold its shape when you begin to cut out your cookies. The cutter I'm using is about 2 inches across because I really don't want them to be too big. They're rich and decadent. I just want them to be a couple bites. You can definitely gather your scraps together and re-roll them, cut out some more cookies. Just be sure to chill the dough before you cut out more. After baking, they need to cool completely. They've kept their shape beautifully. They've puffed up just a little bit. I'm loving these cookies. The filling is just these two ingredients. You take some chocolate that you really like to eat and some heavy whipping cream in equal amounts. That's it. Chop the chocolate super finely. The finer you chop it, the easier it will melt when the hot cream hits it. And please don't use a paper plate. Go ahead and get out a cutting board, okay? Oh, really important part right here. You're supposed to heat up some cream in a heavy bottom pot. I would stir it the whole time and let it get super hot, like it's gonna boil, but don't let it boil. So here we make the ganache filling. Put the chocolate in a bowl, add your cream, and just let it sit. I'd say for about a minute. It's gonna look like a mess. Don't worry, it's totally fine. Now start to stir it, and it's gonna look like more of a mess. It's okay, just go with it. It will start to come together, and it might not be pretty at first, but just keep stirring. And this is what we're after. I'll pour it into a shallow dish just so it cools quicker. It is gorgeous. I'm gonna let it set here until it's cool, but I still want it to be pourable. I'm not putting it in the fridge. One option is to chill it, and then you can whip it, and then you can spread it between your cookies. But I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna pour this liquid gold into a piping bag and snip off the tip, and hopefully I won't make such a mess when I fill my cookies. You could totally use a Ziploc bag here. No bags? Spread it with a spoon or a knife, but probably let it cool a little bit more than I did. I love doing this part. Be sure not to overfill, so when you ever so gently add the lids, it spreads just to the edge. I like to let them set for a couple hours before serving, but I also taste test them very frequently until they're ready. So once again, it's 10:30 at night. Benny gets off work, has dinner. I'm like, oh, can you try these cookies real quick?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's a great bad problem to have. So I'm not mad about it. Look at that.
What?
That looks so good. And this is super dark chocolate, right?
It's crazy dark. I wouldn't like give them as gifts because, well, I would, but like I love the 70% dark.
Yeah.
But if I was giving them, I'd do like some milk chocolate
Like
or like
little-
some 50% dark.
A little bit sweeter or something.
But I love it like that.
See, I like stuff like treats that are not that sweet, so I'm hoping I like this too. I haven't tasted them yet. I've been resisting the temptation. So now, let's give these a try. Cheers. Okay. These are like fudge cookies. Like the cookie itself is like nice and soft, and then the ganache is just so smooth and velvety. But once you bite into it, it feels like you're biting into like a warm brownie. This is really good.
It's so chocolatey.
It's so chocolatey. I need a glass of milk for sure. But this is, oh wow. Ooh, this is, and it's not that sweet.
So there's not a lot of sugar in the cookie dough itself, but, and then obviously that's a very low sugar chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the super strong chocolate. Like just give me a cup of tea or a glass of milk. Like they're not for kids,
No,
but so good. Like I love those things.
these are delicious. So try this recipe. Let us know what you think. Treat yourself. It's an amazing cookie. The ganache is delicious, and you're gonna love these.
As always, I'm Paul.
I'm Benny,
We're grateful for super dark chocolate sandwich cookies.
and we're grateful for you watching. Do I have chocolate in my tea? Okay.